Hey guys, it's Mike with another GodForge video coming in. I think we're on to day 5. I'm pretty sure day 5. Like, we're kind of coming up against it. We've been plugging away on the account. I have been kind of like, there was a day I logged in and I didn't gain any experience at all. There's another day I logged in, or experience, energy. There's another day I logged in and had like 2,000. And so I'm like, my energy's kind of been all over the place, but I've been keeping it moving, and we're kind of getting through the account and just kind of having a good time. We are still stuck on level 120, but we do have quite a few 6 stars on the account now. So we got Hercules up here with a copy of his Awakening. We have Shamash fully awakened on Awakening 5. Gotten so many copies of him, it's kind of ridiculous. We've been stacking up a couple extra copies of some of these guys here. We've got Ra, we've got Horus, we've got Sphinx, all 6 star, Hercules, the Dragon, as well as Shamash. And then we just took Isis up to 6 stars here. So we gotta get her leveled up to 6 star 60. And I think some combination of these 7 characters should be able to get me through the gold boss on level 120. That being said, we also picked up Odin, we picked up Anubis, and we picked up this guy here, Heimdall. Now this guy does an AoE attack that also puts Counter-Strike on all of your all of your allies. So super strong character as far as that goes. So I'm anxious to get him up to 6 star. Been working on food, so we've got some 4 star or 5 star foods. We just need one more and he'll be going to 6 star there. I still have to put gear on him and build him up and whatnot. I have also been stacking up, trying to get a copy of every character in the game that I can get. So I got all the epics that I think I've seen. I don't think there's any epics that are not in here that I have seen. So I did get a replacement copies of all. On the starter champions, I'm starting to put together these Awaken level 5s because I want to do a comparison of the starter champs later on. Once I get everything dialed in, there's a couple stars you need rare champions to get through, so I was going to check that out, see what's going on. I just had an abundance of characters, so I actually put him to Awakening level 5, not for no reason whatsoever. I never even looked at his kit, don't know what's going on there. As far as the rares going on in the game, I feel like I have all of the rares that I've seen, but you know, it's one of those things, like a lot of them come in and then you know, feed them through and you're like, whatever. So I got 7 of the commons here. I would be curious what the champion pool is. So I said 7. We got 2 more, 9. So we got 9 of those guys. We've got 7 of the uncommons and then a bunch of rares as far as that goes, and we're starting to stack up those legendaries. The only legendary that I know of that I'd really like to see on the account is Zeus. I also wouldn't mind seeing Aphrodite, but Zeus is the one that I would really like to get on the account. I also wouldn't mind getting some Awakenings, because some of these Awakenings, when you get in here on these characters, are pretty amazing. So with this Awakening, for example, if any ally is revived, which he does that revive instantly on the first person that dies, he brings them back to life, puts their divinity to 100%, and increases the divinity of all allies by 20. So you're going to be able to kind of speed through your ultimate abilities with that chivalry, or with that chivalry. I just did a King Arthur video, but with that Awakening, but you also get, like on this 4th one, you get initial divinities up to 100. On this one, you place reflect. So like, these guys are gonna be pretty strong upgrades that you can do to your character that are gonna make them significantly more usable, and also I think speed up all of your other characters so they're using their abilities more frequently depending on the character. So that's pretty exciting. But where I'm at right now is I'm just not doing enough damage on the, I'm not sure what they even named this guy. I'm not sure what his name is, but we got the Caverns of Chaos. I'm just not doing enough damage. So I can't stay alive. My heals aren't coming in strong enough. There's a lot of missing pieces to my team right now. So I think that if I got in here and got some other 6 star 60s to work through, probably work through my gearing again, I'll be able to get through it. But that takes us past level 120. I do have every intention of beating this. I'm gung-ho. I want to get all the way to stage 51, and I don't care if I do 1 piece of damage on this dragon. I just want to get there. So we're going to keep plugging away and getting on that stuff. Currently, I'm spending most of my time farming for champions, which may or may not be the right move. So I'm in on 110. I can auto farm this, and I've been getting, you know, my legendary stacking up. Trying to get that copy of Zeus, but I have been getting a couple awakenings for different characters. I feel like I did do a little bit of farming here on 109 or 119, I think it was. Got quite a bit of experience on the account, so I've been stacking up a lot of food pretty easily. I feel like there might have been a mid-game adjustment going on in there, and I'm a few days behind for videos. I probably am at least 2 days behind because I have 2 videos that I haven't even edited yet that I need to get into and do. Just been a busy weekend with family and everything else. So what are we at here? I don't even know what time it is. Probably like 11:30 on Sunday night when I'm recording this. This video probably won't even launch till Tuesday. But I did want to take a minute to discuss some of the kind of glitchy things that I've seen in the game, and this is just in an effort to help the devs. As far as going through and trying to tell you like, hey, this is an issue, or this is like, I just have a real tough time typing that out and trying to explain what's going on. So instead I figured the video might be easier for everybody involved. But in this screen here, like a lot of times you'll get to a point where it's actually working really good right now. Maybe they did an update. But as you switch between these on this upgrade screen, there'll be folks that are frozen that you cannot switch to. And so then you just have to back out. Right now, everything's working real smooth. Real smooth. But it is something that I have run into many times where you're just kind of like, hey, I want to upgrade this character, but it won't actually let me select that character. And so once you go in and you upgrade the character and you do what you want to do, and then you back out and then you try to get in here, it just won't click on the character. So potentially they already fixed it. I'm sure that they're aware of it because it's pretty obvious when it happens. But that is something that I've run into. Another thing I think would be helpful, and probably in the game it will be there, but some sort of like list of you're at this many champions of this many, because I don't know how many champions I can have. So it's kind of one of those where you're like, I'm not real sure, you know, if I'm getting up against it, or if I should feed up some of these people, or is it totally cool for me to keep all these people? And so I bottomed out, and I've run out of space for champions. I think a couple times actually, unfortunately. So hopefully I didn't get anything real good that didn't make it on my account. I think it would be cool if it would default to putting the best champion on your account and taking your worst champion off. So you start losing your ones, then you start losing your twos, and then your rare, or I guess your commons, then your uncommons, then your rares. I kind of feel like that would be a pretty good move, but that may just be me as far as wishful thinking. But honestly, on the main game, you're going to be able to expand this probably, and you'll have a much better understanding of your account, and you probably won't be getting all the champions that we're getting now, because the drop rates have been extremely generous, and we appreciate it because we get a chance to play with all these characters, which is really exciting. Like, I didn't even know who this guy was, then I got him on the account. I was like, what, AoE Counter-Strike? Like, that's huge. So really excited to have him on the team and get a chance to play with him. Not a glitch, but more of a question. On these guys here, when you come in and you start moving these guys up, if I go into autofill, I'm curious which characters, if I don't have spirits, which characters it's going to put in here. Is it just going to grab randomly of my, you know, my epics or whatever the case is? So I think that somehow, I guess if you go into autofill, it didn't do these characters. So I guess maybe the autofill only works with spirits, which I think might be the right way to go, because you wouldn't want to automatically put characters in here by accident that you don't want to actually use to promote your characters. So I think the way that's set up is really cool. The other thing I was going to just mention is this is really cool. Like, if you can just drag this, take it to wherever you want, you go into autofill, and boom, you're stacking people up. Like, it put in this guy on my autofill. It didn't put anybody here in. So maybe somehow because he's common, it threw him in there. So I'm not real sure how that all plays together. But this bar is actually really nice because you can go through, you can pick the ones you want, you can autofill the rest. Like, this whole setup it seems pretty smooth. I do really like it. Another thing that might just be some food for thought is on these screens you have the drain here in red. If you could click here and get the same information that you get when you're clicking on this, I think that could be kind of cool. Also could be kind of cool to see that debuff image there if it's possible. That way you don't have those extra screens to click on to find out what that image is. That way when you see that particular debuff, then you go to the character, it kind of solidifies and brings it in your mind that is going on. It did take me a minute to figure out. If I go to details, I get a little more information about what's going on, and you can click on these and find out, which is crucial. So I mean, this being in the game is great, but I do think it might be a little easier if it was just right here. You could click on it, but I don't know what the coding is on that side. So if it's hard to do, I wouldn't worry about it. But I think it would be a little more user friendly. The other thing I did notice is when you're battling, especially with confusion, it seems like there's a lot of weirdness that happens with your characters facing the wrong way after attacking, or like sometimes the character will die and they will be just standing up floating there. Some of the characters don't walk to the next screen, they stay still and then they just appear in the next screen. I'm not sure if any of these 5 do that. Initially when I started, Dragon did, so I'm sure you guys are aware of it as far as that goes, and it's just a matter of getting through and getting that coding in there. But here with confusion, let's see if something happened. Usually it's with this middle characters, like if Raw goes here, so now he's facing me, the camera, and it's just kind of, it just kind of feels awkward. I mean, he is confused, so I guess it makes sense, but it's just kind of funny that he's spinning around for us instead of facing the enemy. And then I have noticed too on AoE abilities, like with the Sphinx, that the confusion seems weird. Like I could be wrong, but it seems like it usually just hits the enemy. It's not something that actually comes back and hits you, or maybe she hits like this side of folks going on here, and not everybody. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but it's just kind of one of those things that I was noticing. There's something about it that just seemed a little off to me. But I'm just one guy with 2 cents. That's all I am. So it's just, I just take a peek at it and make sure everything's looking good on your end. Outside of that, I would say that I think the 2 times speed is probably, I would say it's definitely not fast enough. The battles here feel pretty slow. This almost feels like probably like 1.25 times speed. If you go into 1 time speed, I think it's basically half speed. So like if you look at the way the characters are jumping and how much time they spend in the air, even on 2 times speed, it looks like they're floating. So it just kind of seems like he has wings, so of course he's floating and she's doing magic. I don't know. Somebody's gonna float when they jump. And so I would just say, like, I would speed that up at least, like his jump right there. Like he just kind of hesitates in the air there, which is on 2 times. I'd expect that animation to be quick. So I feel like not necessarily doing a full 100% increase, but something along like maybe 50 to 75% increase for 2 times, or introducing a 3 times, and just kind of speeding up a little more for the folks that do want to roll through these battles a little quicker. But this does sometimes feel pretty painfully slow on 2 times. The other thing is you have slight hesitations on the loading screen before the characters attack, just adding time to the runs and things of that nature, which I'm sure you guys are aware of. You're smooth out and whatnot, but ultimately, it just adds to time as you're farming and everything else. So I kind of feel like the more and more things we can do to smooth out the farming is going to be better, just because it's, I mean, when you think about what you do in these games, like it's every day, every split second you can shave off different things is going to be a pretty big win. I noticed with like King Arthur, for example, like they actually on 2 times speed, they have all the animations, and then on 3 times speed, they forego a lot of animations where it's just fast. And so maybe something like that could make sense. Like you see the dragon jump up there and spit fire, on 2 times speed, maybe that makes sense. But if you wanted to just speed it up, that extra animation, maybe the extra time's not worth it. I don't know. Just something to think about as far as that goes. The other thing I noticed is going on was with some care. I think that just happened right now with Horus there. And I noticed it mostly with Hercules. When they attack, the actual damage that they put up doesn't show. So it removes damage on the character on the red bar, but it doesn't tell you how much damage they did. It might be on all the moves, but at least on some of them, because I know, like, I'm sitting there watching him, I was like, I don't know how hard Hercules is actually even hitting. I've heard that he hits really hard, and I've got him with, I think, 60,000 HP or something. I feel like I'm doing pretty good with his build, but I don't know, like, I don't see a number pop up over his head. And then the healing, the healing I think is weird. So like when he hits, he heals himself, but the green comes up over the enemy. So it almost looks like you're healing the enemy. Like these heals look like that happened here on Raw, and that heal, like those heals, I don't know where they even went. I'm assuming the green's popping up. That's a heal, and I don't know if it was because he was over there when it procced, and so it's so like that floated with him like throughout that animation. So maybe that's what's going on. But I do see a lot of healing going on the enemy that just kind of is a little confusing as far as who's actually getting healed. The other thing I did want to bring up is on the awakening screen itself. When you bring this up, this is kind of clunky with this being behind our champions. So if you got to click on this before the champions go away so you can add the person that you want to awaken. So I almost feel like either the champion that you're trying to awaken is the only one that shows, so you could see everything here, or if you did, you squatted this down so that the champion, like this entire screen was showing to the right of the champions. I think that might be a better solution than hiding that stuff behind the champion. So that if I select Hercules, for example, like I can't actually add anything here. I'd have to click on this so that I know to add, which kind of is just a little bit clunky as far as trying to figure that process out. But I have to say, all in all, this game, the bones are looking great. I am super excited about it. I've been having so much fun playing this game. I think there's elements of this game that are unique and different. I love the imprinting. I do, if I gotta be honest, I gotta say that this imprint is probably broken. Where is he? Probably needs some kind of nerf, although I do feel like it procs even when you're not below 50%. So I think it's only supposed to proc. Where are we at here? The smithy. Let's go ahead and go in here and go imprint, and we grab this guy here. So it says has a 15% chance to join an ally in attacking if the target is below 50%. I do feel like this procs even when it's not sometimes. I could be wrong, and I also feel like it procs way more than 15%. But I could also be wrong there. But maybe nerfing that down to 10 might be a little better. It just feels a little OP as far as a rare imprint on the game. The other one that I was kind of looking at here, and I got so excited about this one. All of my imprints are this just because I get so many assisted attacks. It's pretty fun. But this one has a 25% chance of counterattack with this hero receives a debuff or disable. I could see that being another one that's kind of, if you had that on all your champions, it could be. I don't know. I haven't used it. I don't know that it's broken, but it does seem really strong. Some of these guys feel a little stronger than like has a 25% chance to transfer one debuff on a hero when attacking enemies. You know, I would much rather have this guy here or this guy here. But I mean, and that's kind of cool. Like sometimes a rare imprint should be, you know, a little more functional potentially than an epic. It doesn't really necessarily have to follow that, but that rare specifically stands out. But the imprint process and the concept behind that, I think, is really good because it allows you to really personalize your characters and think about how you want to utilize certain things. And depending on imprints, like you could have people's passives where they're putting on acid or they're putting on burns or whatever the case is, that theoretically you could turn Hercules into a burn champion potentially. It's like his A1 has a 25% chance of landing a burn or something along those lines, which would be really kind of cool. So I really have appreciated the imprinting process. I honestly haven't tested as much as I should because I found that one. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I'm just going to stick to this one. But maybe after I beat it on level 150, I'll do less about pressing the account along and more about experimenting. I will say that the boss at level 120 was quite a big step up from things before it. I do a lot of damage to the boss on stage 110. Like any of my people that hit him chunk down his life pretty well. But on 120, it's a tickle fight. I'm just trying to stay alive. Now, that being said, I think I need to work on my accuracy, bring my accuracy up so I can land some of those burns because I kind of feel like the damage over time is going to be the way to beat him. But I haven't really got into that yet. So we'll see. The last couple of days I've been a little bit pulled away. I, you know, family and life and stuff. You know, I gotta live. But I have been farming nonstop, so that's how I got all these characters and everything on the account. So it was pretty exciting. But I do want to spend some time trying to get through this boss and seeing what mechanics kind of chunk his life down a little more efficiently. Makes me nervous that he's this hard, as we still have 30 more levels to get through. But I do have 5 days to do it, and I am now starting to stack up a pretty good team of 6-star 60s. So I think I'll have some options as I move through stuff. As far as the waves go, between the dragon, the sphinx, and that imprint, I pretty much wiped the waves clean. And Hercules, I think he has an AoE ability on Zay1 as well. So all 3 of them have that assisted ability. And so I just kind of blaze through waves pretty easily. And I have recently been utilizing Shemesh on his leader ability with the extra initiative. And with the initiative, I'm getting a lot more ultimates kind of trickling through. Plus, he has that added ability with being awakened at level 5, which is helpful as well. So I'm starting to get a few more abilities going on. I would say in the test here, and maybe I haven't gotten deep enough, and that's probably true, but I would say more books would be good. Just so that we can kind of play with the different level ups of all of the characters. Obviously, drop rates are going to be way different in the game, but I would say, like, for wave 3, that might be kind of a nice thing to get a few more books and scrolls going on, so we can maximize every character that we want to, just to kind of see that improvement and how it tiers up. But like I said, all in all, I've been having a blast with the game. I am excited to get in here every day, see if I got a new legendary, because I usually am farming overnight. But unfortunately tonight I'm not gonna be doing anything. I got no more energy. So I'm just kind of sitting here, cooling my heels. But I cannot wait to get back into the game every day and see where I can take progress. You guys are doing a great job, and those are just some things that I've run into that I thought I'd share with you, instead of trying to type it all out and kind of put that together in something. I think it's easier to watch. But I appreciate everybody hanging out with me all the way to the end. I look forward to seeing you next time.